In this episode of the 299, we're going to talk about movie ratings while the whole world around us falls apart. The 299 News starts now.
Welcome to the 299 News. I'm Matt.
I'm Maiden.
And I'm Cole. Boys, I have absolutely breaking news. It's gonna break your mind.
What is?
There's possibly another Sudanese civil war going on. And I've heard Matt's got some intel on that.
So surprising. As surprising, I have information on that. So
Matt is currently in Sudan.
I am currently in Sudan. Don't mind the German flag. It's I'm in the German embassy in Sudan. I know the room does not look very formal. In fact, it's a complete freaking mess. But don't mind that. Pretend it's not there. So recently, war has been breaking out between. Let me open up this thingy, the source I'm getting my information from. So recently, war between two rival factions in Sudan. The central government, or not the people's government, that sounds communist, but versus just the central government and the RSF, which is also stands for, I'm gonna find it. Don't Rapid Support Forces, or short RSF. So on April 15th, conflict between the two nations erupted as a result of competition between ownership of the nation's rich resources. It started off originally it was a coup erupted throughout the the democratic government, which afterwards the two factions, which were once united to form this coup, were rivaled each other out of disagreement on what they should do next. So now, ever since April 15th, war has been. People have been dying. People have been fleeing the country to neighboring countries in Africa, particularly Egypt, South Sudan, and Libya. Maybe I can't get it my map, but the neighboring African countries, neighboring Sudan. The UN has made attempts to mediate negotiations. So far, it has not been very successful, and mostly because neither side will maintain the ceasefire or allowing citizens to escape or get aid from UN peacekeepers or whatever. So far, right now, it's looking as a potential disaster, just due to the massive amounts of people fleeing the country and people dying and people not getting the help they need because of the consistent war. Right now, this is expected to be around 800,000 people to flee the country because of the ensuing war. And so, yeah, it's a real catastrophe. It's tragic, and all I can hope is that the UN and figures out a sort of compromise between the two factions, and they can able to reach a consensus. That's all I got so far. Unless you guys want to talk more about histories of Africa, because I have some opinions upon this about European colonization and how that could have affected how Africa is consistently at war. But. Yeah, you guys want to add anything onto that?
Sure. I was wondering if this has anything to do with Darfur. The region in Sudan. The Darfur? That specifically that's challenging the government?
Yeah, it there's been major mostly fighting in the capital city. I can't remember what it's called, but also in the Darfur region.
I know the Darfur region has recently claimed that they want their independence and has made steps towards that.
Yeah. In the, I don't know if I said this or not, but because I did, I'll just reiterate. But the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, is a paramilitary group. A lot of these, the government, which has been attempted to be formed in Sudan, has been like a civilian/military government. In the past, the military has been a critical piece in the government system for years, and Sudan has been consistently the victim of coups and revolutions and stuff like that. It's a country that ever since gaining independence has been at
They've been constantly fighting wars.
they've been
With- Yeah.
and I feel like that's a lot. That's not in just Sudan. That is, well, it's not just in Sudan. It's in a lot of other African countries, and in my opinion, or a lot of it is affected by the
European colonization.
European colonialization, and how those borders that were established by those European powers, they did not consider the tribal areas, and how they established border lines across or mixed different tribal groups who have different beliefs and traditions, and it just creates a lot of resentment, animosity, and then gaining independence, it's kind of left that legacy.
Well, it's all right. About an hour ago, there was an article put out by the Associated Press saying that that the two sides in Sudan have called for a ceasefire for possible negotiations. So, I think this is just really a problem with the majority of African countries, especially the conflict. And Sudan's kind of right in the middle of the conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia too, because Ethiopia wants to build the dam across the Nile River, but Egypt doesn't want that too. And then you have Somalia too. That's also having a lot of internal issues. Let's see, where else is there? Burkina Faso, that recently had an overthrow of the government and had had that as well. It's African countries trying to deal with the what's been left over by the Europeans after they took everything. Just about. And then the Europeans set the borders themselves, and the African countries have to deal with whatever those borders are, and can't really split them up the way that they originally were.
It kind of appears that they're lost, in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're lost, because I think they're...
Well,
I think China's especially trying to bring them up to first world countries, because China does fund a lot of the infrastructure and projects that go on in African countries. So, like, China is investing like billions of dollars just for like a highway system in southern Africa. So, and South Africa is also a part of BRICS. So some of them are figuring it out. And then you have the East Africa Union, I believe, or I can't remember what it's called. The East African Federation, which is a economic ties between East African countries, similar to the European Union. So I think they're trying to become more modernized, more modern, but it's just a lot harder for them specifically because they were left with absolutely nothing.
Oh, yeah. And that's like what I mean, like, by lost, is that they were these, like you said, these borders were established without their consent, without their input, and tribal lands were not considered, and peoples with different cultures and traditions were mixed, and so it created a lot of tension. And now that they're independence from those colonial powers, it's just they're kind of, like I said, lost. They don't know. They're modernizing, but
They don't know what they're doing.
It's very much more difficult because my dog is barking outside and I don't know why. He's kind of annoying. All right. What's next?
The great country of France. As revolutions and protests continue within the country over the increase of retirement age from 62 to 64 without the vote. Matt's got a little bit more information I hear about that as well.
A little bit, not too much. Mostly, it's still going on. Recently, I don't know much about what's going on. Well, I do, but I only have a little bit to share. The protests in France over the pension reforms are still going on. Recently, 108 police officers were injured as a result of clashes. People have been wounded, and 291 people have been arrested as a result of the protests. This is a little bit of old news, but on April 15th, President Mr. Macron signed the reforms, and while a large majority of the population opposes the higher pension age, majority of the French population disagree or don't want these reforms, but President Macron believes it's necessary, as it's I would say politically smart to do so. I guess my guess would be to become more aligned with other European powers when it comes to the retirement age, and much of the French citizens are worried, and it delves and it's kind of complicated to explain.
Do you think it's an economic? Do you think it's economics that might be, incentivizing an increase in retirement age, like the way the economy is going in France or the world or whatever?
Possibly, yeah. Politically, economically, the citizens of France are concerned, especially younger generations, because their retirement age is increasing, and they have have to work longer and longer to pay for their pensions. I guess, in my opinion, it's going to become. Well, the part of the reason why people are protesting against these reforms is the fertility rate in France is really low, and so there are less younger generations and more older generations, and more older people who are eligible for those pensions.
More older people, that means the French government has to pay more.
Yeah, and then that means more taxes and more percentage to pay for pensions.
So that's probably why he's pushing an increase in retirement age, probably.
Possibly, but citizens.
But obviously, there's a lot of pushback because.
Yes, citizens don't want to work longer, and they don't want to pay their pensions longer.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's conflicting viewpoints. While Macron is trying to help the economy, French citizens are concerned about their own financial stability, and also think about COVID and gas prices and all of that has become those different variables become more of it an issue, and money has been very tight recently. And
I actually kind of wonder what they call gas in France, if it's gas or if it's petrol, because I know they call it different things in around the world. Let me look it up.
But yeah, that's what's going on. It's a
Petroleum versus gasoline.
Personally,
Yeah,
I feel
it's called
France,
Patrol in Europe. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but
well, no, you're good. And personally, I
Yeah.
feel like France, a lot of European countries are given a lot more benefits. Well, they are. They're given a lot more benefits than U.S. citizens. Like healthcare is included in their taxes, and even though they have the
College.
taxes, they're given a lot more benefits than U.S. citizens do. And I think that's
because here you have to pay out of pocket for college or well, not out of pocket. You can get like scholarships for college, but for healthcare for the most part,
It's mostly out of pocket.
Yeah.
I
know there's been like programs in recent years, but
yeah, and I sympathize.
Not, you know.
Well, I sympathize. No, sorry. I sympathize for their concern about their financial stability and if they'll be able to provide for their families. But it's also they have a lot more I'd say privileges or benefits than some other countries.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. Anybody, you guys want to add anything else?
Third French Revolution.
Yeah, that's like the other French. Do you know when it is then?
Well, if it was last year, then I would probably put it like 2025, 2026.
That's when he's up for
like,
election.
This is the beginning of his term. Yeah, like this is the beginning of his term.
Oh. But yeah, so I mean, like, France and the U.S. are both, like, first world countries, so I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, this isn't, like, you know, not like France is, like, poor or anything like that, so I mean...
Well, France is also kind of taking a weird turn, too, because Macron says that he doesn't want Europe to be a vassal of the United States, which came days after his meeting with Xi Jinping, conveniently enough. So... That kind of threw me off too because
that's
now
kind of like that's putting
now other European
U.S. relations at stake, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's real sketchy then. Yeah.
They're not. He's not gonna leave NATO, nor is he gonna like go team with China. But
he's not gonna.
He definitely took what Xi Jinping said to him in consideration.
Yeah.
So
interesting what's going on.
Keep that in mind.
But, yeah.
Bunch of weirdos. America. All right. So, Aiden, I'd like you to tell both of us what your favorite movie is.
I don't have one.
Okay, you're a loser. Matt, your turn.
My favorite. I would have to say All Quiet on the Western Front. That has to be my favorite movie right now.
Why?
Well, there's a bunch of reasons. I think the actors did a great job. The acting was great. It was cinematography was great. And I also loved the story and how it portrayed war. I think it was a great. I think it portrayed it in a very straight, very well, especially specifically for like the First World War and how it was just a meat grinder and how it went from these group of teenage boys who enlisted into the army and were so filled with courage and I don't know, excitement, but as soon as they got onto the front lines, they realized what they actually got themselves into, and it kind of just really represents the nature of the First World War. And also, and there are many moments in that movie that were, I would say, almost made me cry. It didn't, but
loser.
Shut the hell up,
Cole.
Imagine almost crying.
Shut it.
I don't want to spoil anything that people have seen it. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. But if you don't want to hear any spoilers, I would just skip this part.
Okay.
So there, one scene in the movie where Paul Baumer, the protagonist, he is playing in a in a crater, and a French soldier.
Oh yeah, I know what part you're talking about now.
Yeah, and the French soldier is trapped in there with him, and he's French soldier's kind of I don't know, collected his bearings, or not really, but Paul, in the heat of the moment, grabs hold of him and stabs him with a knife multiple times, and very soon after he regrets his decision to kill him while the Frenchman was still alive, and he can't from wanting to kill him, or not wanting to, but protecting himself because it's war, and to trying to save him and think of him as his friend, and and also I kind of relate to Paul. I kind of myself in him. I don't know. That's just how I feel. It's just he's forced to kill others because it's war, but in deep down he's just a kind person in reality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he loses all of his friends too, so
Seems like a fat L.
But yeah, what's Aiden, what's your favorite movie?
Me?
Yeah, I know. We already asked you this.
Yeah, I gotta think that one over a little bit. I have too many to choose from. So
Literally 5 freaking minutes to think, Aiden, and you have to decide.
I was listening to
Look, if it makes you
you.
feel
I was
better,
listening
Aiden,
to you.
If it makes you feel better, Aiden, I've been scrolling through a list of movies right now and still haven't found a good one yet that I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, I got my movie. I after much consideration, I kind of came back full circle to where I started with the first movie I thought of. So I'm gonna go with my favorite director, Christopher Nolan, and his 2014 movie with Matthew McConaughey, Interstellar. I'm gonna go with Interstellar. It's I know Matt's laughing at me, definitely.
I love it. No, that movie's awesome.
It's a great movie. Now I'm not a big space guy, or a science fiction guy, but I just like the fact that the movie comes full circle in the end. And spoiler alert, how it turns out he's the one behind the bookshelf the entire time, which kind of starts the entire movie. Yeah. I mean, it's great cinematography, and it's every single thing that happens in the story gets explained in the end. There is no sequel. There is no loose ends. There's nothing left there. It's you sit down for like 2.5 hours. I don't know. Let me look it up.
It's a long movie.
It's definitely a longer movie. Okay, so it's about 2.5 hours. So it's a long one, but once you sit down and start watching it, it moves pretty quickly. Especially the ending. Like when you're in the last hour, it'll go by really quickly. Because everything basically happens at once. Plus Matt Damon's in it, so you gotta watch a movie if Matt Damon's in it.
Oh yeah. He's awesome.
Alright, Aiden, what's your favorite movie? If you say I don't know, we're kicking you out of this group.
Okay.
Oh, here's another movie I really like.
Okay, you go first, and then I'll go.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Aiden.
No, go.
But here's another movie that I really like that has Matthew McConaughey. Free State of Jones.
Never heard of it.
I highly recommend watching it. It's on the Civil War. It's about a rebel group within the Confederacy in southern Mississippi. It was Alabama, I can't remember. But they form a small rebel group who it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh man, I got a terrible Rotten Tomatoes score.
Oh, jeez.
Go ahead.
Oh, me?
47.
Wait, is it my turn?
Wow, yeah, I mean, it's been your turn since, like, the beginning.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I can't think of a movie. I mean, there's too many to think of. This-
That's all right. Just say. You don't even have to say like like one that you like.
What's a movie you really like? That
Yeah.
You can watch over and over and over and over and over.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of movies, but like
Yeah.
a lot of the movies that I've seen is just because it's on TV. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like,
Fair enough.
Okay.
yeah.
Have there been any of them that you really, really liked? Surprised you at all?
I don't know about movies exactly. I could think of maybe a couple TV shows, but
Mm.
yeah, I don't know about movies.
You know what? I always made this joke with my friends and
Yeah.
my ex that the greatest romance movie ever is Cars 1. Just let that sink in for a minute.
You were gonna say like Notebook, and I'm like, okay.
No.
Oh, I was hoping you were gonna say
That is
Notebook.
actually what I think it is.
Okay.
The Notebook.
It actually is the Notebook. The Notebook is actually the best romance movie.
It is.
Either
Notebook,
that or 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
that one, but the Notebook.
500 Days of Summer is very interesting. I watched it. I recommend it to anybody who recently goes through a breakup, as the whole point of the story is him getting over her, and it's a very thought-provoking movie. It provides self-inflection.
Cole. What's it called?
500 Days of Summer.
All right.
It's a 2009 film. We got a Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zoe Deschanel. So,
Okay.
are you watching the trailer right now?
What?
No.
Oh, it looked like in your face you were watching the trailer, and I couldn't tell. I was like, "Are you really watching it right now?"
Oh.
No.
So, highly recommend it for you, Matt.
Is it on Netflix?
No.
Yeah.
HBO, Hulu.
Oh, Hulu. I got Hulu.
So do I.
Yeah, it's Hulu with a premium subscription.
I think
Amazon Prime.
maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. We care about every single one of you guys, somewhat, kinda.
No, we
And,
care. We care.
you know,
Adios.
audio.